Okay, so I hope that you're really not hungry yet. So I'm going to use the word exchange to refer to Microsoft Exchange product, the exchange market, the exchange protocols, and all these things. So, but anyway, we know that the trademark is Microsoft Exchange and it belongs to Microsoft. I need to say that because I've been recorded. So I'm going to answer several of the questions you have in your mind about what is this about, why we did it, and what is going to affect, and how can I sell it to my customers. So the first question is, why exchange? Why so much buzz about exchange? Why are we betting so hard about exchange, Microsoft Exchange replacement, and so on? Well, the thing is that it is dominating the business mail market. 60% of business mail is based on exchange. So we can say that this is actually a pretty big chunk of the whole market, and it's just based on one single technology. And it's going to be growing, the market. The business mail market is going to grow for the next 5 years. There's going to be over 200 more mailboxes in the world, and surprise, exchange is going to dominate even more this market. So pretty soon exchange will be the standard in the business mail market. So it sounds quite a clever thing to actually bet on that specific technology. And it's very simple to enter this market. You just speak exchange and you enter. You just have to speak the protocol. And the protocols are open since 2007. So why not more people have implemented them? That's the main question I have, and I have no answer for that. So we are the first non-Microsoft entrant. We're open source. And usually if you're open source and you do it right, there's no need for another entrant. Next question. Yes? Yes. Why on-premise and not on cloud? There's so much buzz about cloud, so much hype. Yeah, so it would make sense to actually forget about the old stuff, the old technology, and focus on cloud only, right? Well, wrong. The world is on-premise. 85% of all the Exchange mailboxes are on-premise. Only 15% are on cloud. And it's going to continue being like that for quite a long time. 108 million new on-premise Exchange mailboxes will be created in the next 5 years. That's enough to make Zentyal much more successful than Red Hat. Just that. Just the new on-premise mail that is going to happen. However, we do both. So we're actually doing both on-premise and on cloud. So on-premise is the world it is now. There's a lot of pain with current small and medium businesses with their Exchange servers. Microsoft is increasing the cost of license or forcing them to the cloud, and there we go. So we are offering them the option to keep on-premise, but of course we're working on the cloud, and that's also a possibility. Now, next question. Yes, how do we implement this in Zentyal? Sorry, mate, wrong track. Go to the auditorium. There's Julian explaining this. Don't ask me. I can explain you, but it's better that you talk with the father of the teacher. Next question. Yes, anyone? So, is this really a Microsoft Exchange replacement? So we're promising that yes, Outlook clients do not, but is it really it? So yes. And we have to say that the implementation we have at this moment, it's focused on small and medium businesses. That's our promise. So, for the vast majority of the users, it is one-on-one feature compliant. We do not promise to implement very, very advanced feature, like, for example, macros on your Outlook. We don't promise that they work. But the typical use of any typical user, email, calendar, contacts, sharing, all that is working. That's a promise we have. For system administrators, it's a 3-click upgrade from Exchange, and it's really, really beautiful. Also, it's Active Directory compatible. We implement Samba 4. You don't have to worry about that either, so you have the whole stack together. And the idea is that Outlook clients do not notice. So you can perform this migration, you can save a lot of money, and go to some superior technology, but without the hassle of convincing your users of changing the way they work, because that's the nightmare. Yes, please. Sorry? Yes. Yes, you can. The migration is you find your Exchange server on the network, you start migrating or copying actually users, emails, calendars, and everything. You check that everything is okay, and then it's up to you to switch off the Exchange email. We're not going to do that for you, sorry. Yes? It's a safe limit we have. So we have, it's caution, yeah. So we have defined 300 as reasonable amount limit that can be the definition of the medium-sized business. Microsoft has done this definition for us. So they have a small business server, which is up to 75. Then they have a mid-sized business definition for Exchange, which is 300 users. So we have to stick to the same the standards that Microsoft has said. So we support up to 300 users. That's the promise we have for this out-of-the-box product. We can go over that, but that should go with the project. We cannot promise that this is going to work for 1,000 users or 2,000 users out of box at this moment. No, it's not that limit. Yes, exactly. We have not implemented tests for that yet. Okay, next, and this is the big question that you are all asking. Is that your question? Oh, you disappoint me. Yes. Yes, let me address that at the end. If I forget, please remind me. Good. Yeah, come on. Please let Andrew to be able to listen to me. He came here to listen to me, not to you. No, okay. Just a joke. Anybody has this question, or is it only me? So why should I move to Microsoft Exchange, or why should I move my users, my customers, to Microsoft Exchange? So there are many reasons, many reasons for this. I'm going to show you just the most obvious of them. The first one is that you are not forced to the cloud. You know, this, especially for small and medium businesses, this is great because, as I said, Microsoft is forcing the SMBs to choose between paying 4 times more or going to the cloud. You have a third option. If you prefer to keep your server, your processes, everything you have invested in for so long, and you don't want to move to the cloud just yet because it's too early, because your internet connectivity is too bad, because for whatever reason, you don't have to. Customers can keep the data and the systems as they were, and important partners, they can keep their business models. We're not forcing partners to become cloud resellers. Next, you gain control. And this is important because nowadays, well, first, this is open source software. You don't have to go to the source code to read everything, but you know that you have that option, and we know that you have that option, and that gives power to you. That you have the possibility of making a fork if you want, and well, you know how open source software works, so that sets us in different dynamics. Then, open data. Exchange, Microsoft Exchange is just a black box. You cannot take the data from there unless it's with Microsoft Exchange. We save it in a standard SQL database, standard file system. You are able to access this data and integrate it with your database policy, so you have data consolidation, and you can access this data, so you're not longer in locking situation. And finally, your privacy is guaranteed. So we all know now, thanks to Snowden, that Microsoft works with the NSA. So if you want to be sure that the NSA is able to access your data, you can work with Microsoft. If you don't want the NSA to be able to access your data, well, we are open source. Our code is open and available. and that's the best guarantee that there's no backdoors, that your privacy is guaranteed. Next. The value we offer is based on support and services, not on license fees. Can anybody tell me what is the real value of a license? No, because there's no real value. At maximum, during the life cycle of the product, you can have guaranteed updates, which is one thing that we offer. But all the rest, if you find a bug of Microsoft, yeah, there's a promise that they're going to solve it. Go there and ask them. If you have a problem deploying your product, your service, configuring it, then yes, you can get support from Microsoft. It's 300 euros the issue. You know, there's these kind of things that you need to pay afterwards. With us, everything is included. Next. There is no pricing, no sense. We charge per server. End. Full stop. Microsoft charges you per user twice, because you have to pay SLA for the server and for the Windows server, SLA for the Exchange server. Or you can choose. They can charge you for device, but you pay SLA. SLA. CAL. Yes. Sorry. CAL per device. Twice again. Once for the Windows server, another time for the Exchange server. You can pay per processor, and this is great. So Microsoft new license model charges you per number of processors, cores that you have in your hardware, which means that your organization doesn't change. You have the same number of users, the same number of requirements. Your system doesn't change. You just update the hardware. You pay more to Microsoft. We don't charge you per virtual instances. We don't charge you for downgrade to a lower version. We don't charge you to upgrade to a newer version. That's included in the subscription. So with Microsoft, you have constant licensing changes. Next. Well, ours is a subscription versus an upfront investment. Instead of needing to collect all the money and pay it upfront and then do the amortization for several years, you just pay per month or per year or whatever you like, but it's just a continuous fee instead of an upfront investment. You can have a continuous upgrade path, so every time we release a new version, you can upgrade to the new version with the new functionalities, instead of having to pay a new license every 3-5 years, having to do a migration from the old Microsoft product to the new Microsoft product. You know, there are several advantages here. Next, you spend less, much less. This is a random comparison of how it would be with I just took an example of 150 user Office. It could be even bigger savings if you have a 300 users Office. So Office that needs a server for Active Directory, file sharing and Exchange, with Zentyal for a 5-year subscription. It's less than 5,000 euros. With Microsoft solution, it's close to 20,000 euros. So the total saving is 73%, which is not bad. Jorge is going to give a workshop on this. He's going to compare several scenarios of Microsoft against Zentyal tomorrow morning. So I hope tonight you're not getting too drunk, because at 11, this is going to be very interesting. Next. Okay, this is not the reason why to move, but this is actually the main pain or the main fear that the people have when moving from a stabilized technology to a new one. Your users do not know this, and you can try yourselves in the live demo center. Next. So many of you will have this question: when can I start selling this? So is this ready? Can I sell it now? So yes, please. Sell it now, but don't promise any deployment until December, unless we have agreed that this is a safe deployment. So what we promise now is that we have a technology preview that is launched. We want to test it with the community users before we can actually feel safe to suggest it for customers. However, sales cycle usually take long, and it's better to start selling now and to close a deal by December than to wait until December and close the deal in March. So if you can save money for a customer, you can start offering now. One more thing. December, we will publish the first service pack that will be integrated in the commercial edition. So that will be stable. That will be available for the commercial edition. You need to check the feature list and the compatibility before you promise what will come. So don't promise things that might need some more time to come. So you can only promise what will come in this service pack. So for that, I need to answer the question, so how we have defined the roadmap. First, we have focused on the end of life of the Outlook client because we believe that that's the critical part. So Outlook 2003, there are still people running that, quite many in fact. And in April, next April, that will be the end of life. So we want these people to be able to migrate to the new Exchange and then to new Outlook seamlessly. So that was the priority, to make compatibility with Outlook 2003 from the start. Then they will come Outlook 2007, and then you can imagine 2010, 2013. So the promise we deliver is this, that according to the Outlook version, we're going to implement the quality assurance tests for these different clients. By December, we promise that Outlook 2003 will be perfectly compatible for the vast majority of the features, the most common features. And 2007 will be tested, starting to be tested, but not as good as, well, it will be launched then for the community. So basically it should work quite well, but we cannot promise completely 100%. 2010, 2013, yes, we're using the same protocols, but we have not tested those. So in April, you have the guarantee that up to Outlook 2007 works very well, 2010 should work, and 2013 not tested, and so on. In June next year, up to 2010 guaranteed, 2013 should be, and by September, in 1 year time for the next summit, everything will work. Yes, please. Apple Mail. Do you mean Outlook? Ah, okay. Yeah, you don't mean the Outlook version for Apple? No. Okay. No, we are not going to implement that, those testing specifically. We're focused on Outlook, but in any case, that should work in the same way as Thunderbird. So they don't use actually the Exchange protocol so much. So they should work. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah. Very, very good. Ah, sorry, yeah. So the question is, good, fantastic, Exchange replacement, you're focusing on Outlook. Does it mean that you're forcing your customers to be hooked with Outlook on the desktop and pay more and more license fees for the desktop? And do we have a plan for that? That's a very good question. So, how to answer that? Yes, we have thought about it, and we have come to the same conclusions. We need to focus first on the server. So, until this is implemented, we cannot actually work or make any promise on the desktop. But Evolution integrates OpenChange, so Evolution should be able to work. Yes, that's a good thing. Also, we have a web access application, so you can move to the web access with us. And we have several ideas on how to package that with other technologies and how to offer actually an Outlook replacement. But that's only in the idea level. But yes, we have realized about this problem. Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We don't promise that. We can try, and basically it should use the same protocols, and basically it should work. But that's another version that we should add here. Yeah, but Outlook for Mac is also Microsoft. Yes. Yeah, because these are the official one. Yes, we should have a look at it, but first the priority is on the Microsoft clients. Mobile devices, mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, okay. Good. Yes, so this is my last question. What about hosted Exchange? Yes, we have a proof of concept that is completed and it was successful and it works. It works pretty well, actually. And we can provide it on demand for hosting providers. Actually, I would like to mention the first hosting provider who's actually thinking really seriously on that. That's HISPAWeb. He's one of the sponsors of the summit. And there you have. They are actually, the brave ones are actually thinking seriously about this. And well, if you have any questions about how they plan to implement it and you're interested in this concept, go and talk with them. And this brings me to the question that I was delaying until the end. So this should work for thousands of users. We're working on that, but this proof of concept, we're going to work on that and make available and make sure that in the shortest time as possible, it can scale up, it can be actually functional. Yes? Yeah. Good. And that's all. So do you have any questions so far? You have been asking many questions, and I love that, but I'm sure you still have many questions, right? No? Yes. I knew it. Mm-hmm. 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 Mm. Yes. Okay, so very good question. We do we are actually investing a lot of effort in usability in the web interface. We have adopted RunCube, which is actually the standard for most hosting providers. The interface is really simple. It's really easy and neat. We like it. We think it's a pretty good interface. So yes, so that's the alternative we offer for people who don't want to have Outlook on the clients and they want to use web access. And that has the same functionality as Outlook, that is behind, and so on. Now, I want to have some comment about Google Apps that you mentioned. We don't consider them competitors because the protocols they're using and the underlying technology, it is substantially inferior to using the Exchange protocols. That's what I said in the opening speech. Exchange protocols actually do the right thing. They actually treat calendars, contacts, and mail as one single unit, and that's something that you cannot do with internet protocols because they don't do that. So you can try to actually make something, but eventually it doesn't work the same way. And also from the market data that we have, Google Apps is not actually entering so hard into the business market. The cloud market is growing a lot, but it is going to be swallowed by Exchange, hosting Exchange, or any Exchange compliant application. So yeah, every time Google makes any success story with that, they actually they pay a lot to get in all the newspapers. But there's not much else to see behind the scenes. And one last thing that you commented, we do not plan to offer hosted OpenChange by ourselves. For cloud, we do have the hybrid cloud. We will offer the backup of OpenChange and so on. But if you want to have OpenChange accounts on the cloud, you should talk to one of our hosting providers partners that will offer that because that's what they do better, and we want to stay on the technology vendor area.